Hey everybody, this is Doomhammer with a weekly update in the 32-team franchise. We are in the 2015-2016 NFL season, and we just finished Week 10. So we're heading into Week 11, so we can go and look at the weekly recap here. We got the Patriots, who are 28-14 to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Didn't mean to click on that. We got, where'd it go? There we go. Buffalo falling to the Dolphins by 1 point. They failed the 2-point conversion. We got Pittsburgh Steelers falling 6 points behind the San Diego Chargers. That was a 6-2 matchup versus a 6-3 matchup, and the Chargers are the ones that get the victory and become the 7-win team. The St. Louis Rams are 14-13 over the 49ers, and they're now tightening the gap between those two teams. You got the Raiders losing to Denver, and the Raiders are 6-2. They fall to 6-3. New Orleans Saints are 21-17 over the Panthers. So Drew Brees is bringing his team back to being a bit more competitive. You got the Baltimore Ravens, who are falling. So Peyton Manning is now, I think he's 2-3 as the starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Jacksonville edges out the Texans, and so they are able to hold Michael Vick's team down a little bit from going to 7-3 or 7-2. Now they're 6-3. Eagles had an injury with Donovan McNabb on Monday Night Football, and so Teddy Bridgewater came in, and he was not able to carry the team to victory. So the 4-4 Packers go 5-4, and the Eagles go from 4-4 to 4-5. The New York Giants triumph over the Chicago Bears. Nick Foles and Josh Freeman, the two of them have not been doing a great job this season, and they're 2-7. We could be looking at Jared Goff over here to Chicago. And then you got Cleveland Browns finding a way to win against the New York Jets, 38-35. The Arizona Cardinals, who are 1-7, were able to beat their rival, the Seahawks. Instead of the Seahawks moving up to 6 wins, they fall to 5-4, which is good because that keeps the 49ers 1 game ahead, or a half game ahead, I guess. And then you got the Detroit Lions getting beat by the Washington Commanders. So we see Chicago and Detroit are actually both in the running for Jared Goff or Carson Wentz if they want a quarterback. I know the Lions have Ryan Tannehill. We'll see if they stick with him or they move on from him. Then you got the Atlanta Falcons with Jimmy Garoppolo coming out and winning over the Kirk Cousins Indianapolis Colts. Bengals, Chiefs, Cowboys, and you saw the Titans all on a bye week. So when we look at the stats, I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. League leaders. We got Aaron Rodgers leading the way with Tom Brady, Cousins, Newton, and Ryan, all in the top 5 of passing leaders. Cam Newton is leading with touchdowns with Rodgers, Stafford, Brady, and Smith. And the best passer rating, you can look at those. Chris Johnson is just slaying it this season. He has already 1,100 yards, and it's only week 11. Behind him is Javid Best, that's a surprise. Javid Best was actually behind Darren McFadden in Tampa Bay for many years, and then he got his chance to be the starting running back in Buffalo, and he is making the most of it, being the runner-up in the rushing race. Trent Richardson doing fantastic for the Chiefs. DeMarco Murray, and then a quarterback, Terrell Pryor, is actually in the top 5. Chris Johnson has the most touchdowns by 8. It's insane, 18 touchdowns. He is really putting together an MVP caliber performance this year. McFadden and Yeldon with 10. Yeldon has a surprise rookie spark there for the Commanders. Richardson and then Jerick McKinnon. I guess I could scroll down. There's a lot of ties for the 5th. That's why there's a scroll. Broken tackles, LeSean McCoy leads the way there. And then we go down to receiving leaders. We got Odell Beckham Jr. with the most receptions. Emmanuel Sanders behind him. Josh Gordon, Greg Olsen, Jarvis Landry right behind him. We've got yards with Mike Wallace, 940. He leads the way with Beckham right behind him. Greg Olsen, Emmanuel Sanders, and Gordon. So, when you have a lot of receptions, you tend to be getting a lot of yards. Now, Calvin Johnson Jr., who's not in the top 5 for either of those two stats, is leading the league with touchdowns with 9. Beckham, Diggs, Landry, and Demaryius Thomas tied for second with 8. Then we've got the likely Defensive Player of the Year, Von Miller having 12 sacks already. 17 tackles for loss. He doesn't have a whole lot of total tackles, but I guess Taylor May is leading the way there with the Jets. 5 interceptions for Eric Berry with Dallas. Nolan Carroll II, along with Manti Te'o, the Panthers, and then also Adrian Amos. So Panthers are getting some turnovers. Ashton Yabuti with 3, and there's a good number of them for 3. We look at forced fumbles, a group of them with 3, Von Miller, Barr, Kuechly, and Brown. And then we have 2 touchdowns, Shamarko Thomas. He's actually filling in for the 99 overall Dante Whitner for Pittsburgh, and Dante Whitner is out for the rest of the year, so that's a big loss for Pittsburgh. But Shamarko Thomas is already gotten 2 touchdowns in this league. When we look at the standings, the Patriots are closing in on the Miami Dolphins. As you can see, they are on a 6-game win streak, so they were only 1-3, and then they turned that around to be 7-3, right behind the Dolphins at 8-2. Buffalo with Marcus Mariota, their rookie quarterback, is actually 5-4, doing pretty well. They did trade away their first-round pick to move up to get Mariota, and that's where the Commanders have 2 first-round picks heading into this 2016 draft. But they are increasing their draft ranking, their order, because they keep winning games. So the Bills are 5-4, and the Jets with Alex Smith are 3-6. I can't imagine Alex Smith is going to stay. I think there's going to be some turnover with the Jets. Chip Kelly's probably going to get canned, and they're probably going to go with a new quarterback direction, because I think Alex Smith is going to want to try someplace else, and we'll see. Maybe Alex Smith can go to another team that will turn them into a contender. He is a top quarterback in this franchise. Then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers with 2 games ahead in their division, and the Ravens are doing better since they acquired Manning. I mean, they are 2-3 since acquiring him. Browns are 4-5, and so they're tied with the Ravens. All of them are still in opportunity to take on the division, but Bengals are starting to trail a little bit with that 3-6 record. Houston is ahead by 3 games. They're 6-3, led by Michael Vick. We see Jacksonville Jaguars and Titans are half a loss ahead of the Indianapolis Colts. Colts started out 3-1, as you can see, and now they, unlike the Patriots, they kind of had a flip thing where the Patriots won 6 games in a row, and Kirk Cousins, Norv Turner as head coach of the Colts, are on a 6-game losing streak, and they were in it for the division. Now they have to claw their way back. We'll see if the Colts are able to do it. They do have an MVP candidate in Chris Johnson, who's been just doing fantastic, but they keep finding ways to lose. They're 1-5 at home. That's difficult. The Chargers, Aaron Rodgers, 7-3. They're looking good for their division. The Raiders are challenging them with Matt Ryan. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, who were up there. They might be able to claw their way to a 7th or 6th seed in the playoffs. And then you got Denver with Sam Bradford. And Bradford has done pretty well in his career, but he's having a tougher time this season. But that's a very competitive division there in the AFC West. Then we look at the NFC East and the Eagles, who have been one of the best teams in my entire franchise in all 14 seasons. They are right now in the bottom of the division, 85 overall, 38-year-old McNabb, maybe showing some signs of aging. And we'll see if maybe I decide to move on from him and give Teddy Bridgewater the start for a portion of the season or the remaining part of the season to see should the Eagles try to get a quarterback in the draft or acquire someone like Alex Smith or someone like that if they are available instead of living with Bridgewater. So I have to see, is Bridgewater going to be the real heir to Donovan McNabb, or do I go elsewhere? But that's we see Dallas Cowboys leading the division by half a game. Russell Wilson, Adrian Peterson, a pretty solid unit there. Eli Manning, who's after his several years in Kansas City, is now actually in New York, and he's 6-4. He's helped turn them around. John Gruden is the head coach there in New York, so big mouth, big city, and he's making big things happen. The Commanders are 5-5. They're about a mid team with Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. The Vikings and the Packers are tied for the NFC North, and they don't really have much competition other than each other. So Vikings and Packers appear to be the ones to beat. Detroit and Chicago, unless they go on a tear, are probably not making the playoffs. They look to be the 2 worst teams in the league, them and Arizona. Then you got the NFC South. Everything's up in the air there. You've got the Buccaneers at 6-3 with Blaine Gabbert. The Saints and Panthers 5-5. We got Breeze and the Saints in his first season with the Saints, and Joe Flacco, who's been probably the longest serving starter the Panthers have had. He's definitely been reliable since 2008. Flacco has not really brought them a Super Bowl or anything like championship worthy, but he has always kept them sort of mid. But we'll see if mid is good enough, because, again, Panthers might decide to move on from a quarterback if they feel Flacco is not giving them the spark they need. And then the Falcons, they had Peyton Manning start out, and then they got rid of him after they were 1-3. And then Jimmy Garoppolo has been taking the reins ever since. And then the West, just like the AFC West, it's very competitive between the 49ers, Seahawks, and Los Angeles Rams, or the St. Louis Rams. And so, as you can see, a lot of road wins. I mean, geez, these teams can't win at home, and they're blowing people out on the road. They're undefeated, 4-0, 5-0, but 0-4 and 0-4 at home. So that's Cardinals were a Super Bowl champion 2 years ago, but they are falling 2-7, which is not great. When we look at the entire league, it looks like Arizona would be picking number 1. You got the Bears, the Lions, Colts, Titans in the bottom 5. We'll see how the season pans out to see if that still is the deal. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and switch over to some highlights. First, we're going to do some recaps from the Week 9 week, and then we'll do some from Week 10. So here we have the Ravens beating the Dolphins. This was a big Week 9 matchup where the Dolphins fell to 7-2 before they got their win last week. Then we got the Bears getting their second win, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is where Nick Foles delivers a victory for Chicago. Not the outcome the Bengals wanted, of course. But here we are nonetheless. Foles has 788 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions on the year. Then you got the Vikings taking on Detroit. And you can see the Minnesota Vikings have no problem coming away with a victory against the Detroit Lions, helping them get ahead in this division. RG3 has 1,169 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions on the year. Now we move to Week 10. Some highlights from Week 10 is the New England Patriots trouncing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New England is having a great time here with Jamal Charles with 746 rushing yards on the year and 7 touchdowns. Tom Brady with 2,200 yards and 5 yards and 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, as you saw him being one of the top 5 quarterbacks in passing. Then we have the Dolphins versus the Bills, and although the Bills have had some success this season, the Miami Dolphins bounced back from their loss against the Ravens and come away with a slight victory over the Bills. Bills went for 2 points, and it was not the right decision. But they tried nonetheless to win the game, and had they converted the 2-point conversion, the Bills would have upset the Dolphins. But unfortunately, they failed. Then you got the Las Vegas Raiders, or the Oakland Raiders, taking on Denver. And this is where Denver got their upset. So Sam Bradford hands the ball off to Ahmad Bradshaw, who has been fantastic running the ball for the Denver Broncos this season and in his career. 732 yards, 7 touchdowns. Good for Bradshaw. And then the last highlight here is the San Francisco 49ers defeating the New York Giants, who have been making great strides here in the NFC East. But Greg Jennings, the trade acquired wide receiver from Tennessee, has been making an impact. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed this update, and I'll see you in the next one.